makes sense. People out there on their own. Hold on tight, it's too hot to be.
Who you got? Does it make your list? Which one of these is your favorite? Dead or alive? Take your pick. It's your choice, just don't bootlick. Tell us what you want in your top 5, and we gotta know the reason. Let's take a deep dive. If you the same as mine, I'll be your #1 supporter. Now relax and enjoy the podcast. It's No Order. All right, Barry, you ready to rock?
Always.
How you feeling today, bro?
I'm cool. You know,
Good, man. What you got going
I'm
on?
on vacation right now, so enjoying the days off.
Okay, vacay, staycation, or what you got going on? You going anywhere?
Yeah, no, staycation. We remodeling the house right now, so that's where all the dough's going.
Fire. Hey, I did see some photos, man. Pretty
kitchen?
dope. The kitchen looks,
Yeah, the bathroom is gonna be even better.
well, I'll have to come through and blow up the spot, you know? Right on, man. Well, I want to welcome everybody on the stream to the No Order Podcast. We got some exciting new things coming up on the horizon here, and I think everything is going to start taking off for us here. So let's hope so. Feel free to send us a message, KnowOrderPodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to give us a follow on Patreon, come through and support. Feel free to watch us on YouTube, No Order Podcast on YouTube, No Order anywhere you stream your podcast. And we just had our affiliate and partnership with Apple Podcasts. So that's pretty exciting. We're pretty juiced for that. So make sure y'all go and get some merch as well. So we got beanies, hats, mugs now.
Shorts,
Pants.
sweatpants.
Sweatpants for sure. No jeans or nothing like that. I don't think that would be pretty cool, but sweatpants for sure. So we're pretty excited about the new things that we got coming up, and we're juiced to have another special guest on the podcast. I'm super excited about because I just think it's very interesting, the topic.
Well, I feel like everybody needs to know something about this because, when that day comes, you better be safe than sorry. You know what I mean?
For sure, bro.
You better listen up to these top 5s before, you're ass out and don't know what to do.
Yeah, I'm not like a doomsday prepper per se, but I do like to be prepared. Not saying that this is
Just
the
prepare
topic.
for anything, though.
Yeah, what if you need something, or if you get stranded somewhere, or you're out somewhere and you can't kind of get a phone signal or something like that, your phone's lost or whatever the case may be, just being prepared for it. Absolutely right. I think that this is going to be a pretty dope topic, and I'm very excited for this one. So buckle up and get ready for a fun one here on Twitch, and follow us on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button as well, No Order Podcast. So without further ado, the top 5 topic that we have here today is going to be top 5 wilderness survival techniques here with Bear and Doe. And we have a special guest coming to join us, who is Jonas. Jonas is going to join us on the podcast, and we are excited to have him. Feel free to send us your messages in the chat here on Twitch. Jonas, how you feeling today? You with us, man?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm not in the wilderness right now.
No, thankfully, I don't.
But in a sense we all are. I mean, this is all just society built up around us to make us feel like we're not in the wilderness.
Concrete jungle,
So
huh?
kind of exactly.
Awesome. So we are excited to have you on the podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. We want to talk about the top 5 wilderness survival techniques. And I know you do a lot of different hikes and go on treks and different spots. I see you got your A's hat on. So we know you're in the Bay Area. So maybe you can incorporate some of your favorite hiking spots as well with your techniques for survival in the wilderness. So we're excited for it.
I mean, I'll definitely tell you, you won't catch me going on a hike without bringing some rope with me. And that's just something in the back of my head because cordage is on the top 5. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to make cordage. But that is one of the top 5 wilderness survival skills that you need. And so I carry rope with me everywhere, whether I'm going down to, Big Basin and I'm going to go see, what's that falls? Berry Creek Falls, a beautiful, beautiful hike. Get out into the redwoods on Buteno. Buteno got burnt down though, so I think you can't really go hiking there.
It's happening a lot all over the state. unfortunately.
Yeah. We had a bunch of fires. Although if you can get into the fire areas, you can kind of see what is coming back right away. California is fire adapted, so a lot of the trees benefit from a fire moving through nice and hot and quick. The redwoods especially benefit from the fire moving through. So there's a lot of things that you can kind of observe by going on some hikes out there in Buteno. Russian Ridge over here on the East Bay. If you can get out to Sunol Regional Wilderness, it's absolutely fantastic place to go hiking and exploring. This whole land was occupied long before the Spanish came and enslaved all the Ohlone people and all the natives and made them build stuff and start growing crops. Before then, they were wilderness survival specialists in this area. And they knew all the plants and they knew all the animals and the movements and they had all the skills necessary to live here very happily and easily. They didn't have to work very hard. This is a place of abundance.
Bountiful, right? Yeah. Very plentiful in there. And it's a beautiful thing to see for sure, that Mother Nature and how wild to us that it changes and can really heal itself and come back very quickly. And I know with the native peoples, that's definitely a close, near and dear topic for Bear as well. So maybe that'll be something we get into in the near future. And excited to hear your top 5. You are on the No Order podcast here with Bear and Do. So we have the option for you to give your top 5 in a particular order, but also in no order, of course. KNOW Order Podcast, anywhere you stream your podcasts. I hear Cordage and is one of your top 5. Is that your number 1, or you want to kick it off with your number 5 here, Jonas?
We'll come back to Cordage because it messes up the whole order anyway. Let's go with number 1. I think it's the most important. We've been talking about these wilderness survival skills. And Bear, you mentioned how it's good to be prepared. And so you could call these, I don't know, preparedness tools for the apocalypse. Okay, yeah, doomsday preppers. Yes, I am one. I think we all should be to some extent, mostly because it gives you a sense of confidence in yourself, is that, I don't have to worry about tomorrow. If I lose my job or whatever, it's okay because I can survive on my own in the wilderness, right? So
you prep for everything else, so why not prep for a disaster? Why not prep for survival?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and so we use the term wilderness survival because a lot of people can attach to what that is, but I prefer to call it like primitive skills or ancestral skills. And these are skills that all of our ancestors had, and we could say, oh, they're Native American, or they're Irish or Scottish or wherever you're from. Your ancestors had these skills. These are all skills that every human being on the planet, their ancestors had to have these to survive, and that's why you're here.
So I'm Irish, so mine was beer and potatoes. Top 2.
So beer is an ancestral skill. Maybe we'll go. I'm gonna make the top 5, but we'll pull that into it later. So the first one is in a survival situation, what are your priorities? So this is and I'm gonna teach you a mnemonic device. It's schwa fi fu. Sounds like a song.
Schwa fi fu.
What language is that?
Fu.
I'm just kidding. Schwa fi fu. Can you say it?
No.
Schwa fi fu.
Okay, what's the schwa fi fu stand for, Jonas?
So the sh is the first thing you need to pay attention to if you get dumped in the middle of nowhere with no clothes, no tools at all.
Does that stand for
shelter? You need to find shelter. You're not going to live very shelter. Find a shelter, protect yourself. We carry a lot of shelter on us and with our clothes and stuff. That's shelter. So we're not going naked, but outside in the wilderness without shelter, you're not going to last very long, regardless of what you brought with you, regardless of what you can find, regardless of what you can make and what other skills you have. So first thing to do, build a shelter. And we could do a whole different topic on how to build shelters and all of that. But the schwa fi fu is about the order of importance. So shelter is most important. Schwa, guess what that is? Most important, second most important thing?
Water.
Bingo. Water. We need fresh, clean water. So how to find water, how to filter water, that's the second skill. So shelter building, water, fi. Schwa fi.
Fire, bro.
Fire.
Fire, yes.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to this because while fire is in this Schwa Fi Fu, fire is its own top 5 skill. So we'll come back to that one.
Okay.
Fire, every movie you've seen where somebody has to survive, like when they finally make fire.
Yeah, I try to stay with the lighter wherever I go and other things. But anyways, I'll let you go to it. So we got shelter, we got water, we got fire. And the last one is food. You bring your food with you, that homie.
No. Food.
Well, so so that's number 4 on the list, right? So you're gonna last, a couple days without shelter before you die. You're gonna last almost a week without water before you die. You're not gonna last very long without fire because you're not gonna be able to cook things. You're not gonna be able to stay warm. And then food is the last. You can go for a few months before you die from food. So those are the
food is food.
Food is food.
Okay, not this food.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much food he looks pretty chunky.
Not the Donner Party.
Yeah,
Never mind. I
definitely can lose a couple. I'll be okay for a couple months without food.
We actually short little side quest here.
I was
Bear and I
saying, Bear, you were gonna supply me up in like the Donner Party. You're gonna
right. We almost died over Donner Pass when we went to Reno that one day. We almost became a part of it.
Oh no. Well, it is interesting though, because going back to the start, we were talking about like, what are we really dependent on in our society? And food is one of those things where we all think like, if society went away today and I had to live on my own, where's the food? And it's a fucking lie. There is a lie out there that they are selling you to make you go to the store and buy food, is that food scarcity exists. Monsanto uses this food scarcity to get big government funding for their poison of their glyphosate. So the idea that there isn't enough food around us is a lie. Food is abundant. It's all over the place. People have just forgotten what it looks like, what it tastes like, how to harvest it, how to use it. Like acorns, all of the little critters eat them. They're all over the place. They fall onto the ground. Humans used to eat them instead of flour in this area. But there's a process. You have to grind them up and you have to rinse out the toxins from them, and then you have flour, and I have some in my fridge, and you can make pancakes out of it. And that's what the natives did here. So there is food all around us. I can go on a hike. Let's see, another good hike, someplace, redwoods in the East Bay. You know what I'm talking about, next to Castro Valley, I guess it is.
On Redwood Road?
Chabot Lake?
Yeah, the lake there.
Yeah,
so the Redwood Forest there. If you go hiking there in the spring, it is so easy to make yourself a nice big salad from miner's lettuce and chickweed, and there's just an abundance of food in our natural environment that if you go hiking, you can snack as you go along. So that's just something I wanted to bring up. You've got to learn, and so now we can go to number 2. Okay. Number 2, out of order. Finish number 1, which had 4 buried inside of it. But number 2 is animal tracking, or tracking in general. But I like animal tracking. It's a little more fun. So this is a wilderness survival skill that may not seem like it's going to give you a bunch of tools for survival. But this is something that all of us have in us, the ability to observe and ask questions and think and imagine and put ourselves in the life of an animal. Like, what is that animal doing? Why is that animal doing that? Because an animal is played upon the landscape. Like, the animal exists because the landscape is there to support its life. And so when we're out hiking and you see some footprints on the side of the trail in the dust and it's not a dog, are you going to identify what that is? Is it a raccoon? Is it a fox? Is it a mountain lion? Is there, and how long ago did that mountain lion come across? Are you coming up on a mountain lion? Are you going to come around the next corner and surprise a mountain lion? Well, you're not going to surprise it if you saw its track there. You're going to get quiet and you're going to start knowing I'm in mountain lion territory.
I'm going to go the other way.
They're probably tracking you if you could see its prints, because it'd be really close then, right?
Maybe. I mean, you can find those details in the track. when it was there, how long ago it was there, how it was walking. All of that can be seen in a track. And this is something, you know, we imagine, you know, in the movies, some native like getting down there and like, oh, I look at this track and I can tell which way the animal went. That is an experience of tracking. That is a practice. So when you go out hiking, when I go out hiking, everybody's going past me because I'm sitting there. My awareness is, oh, I heard a bird. What is that bird saying? That robin is alerting all the other birds around it to me walking into its territory. Or maybe a squirrel is doing the same thing and giving an alarm call up in a tree. Here comes a human. Here comes a human. You know, they're talking, but do we know what they're saying? And then when I see those prints, I really like possum because they know how to play dead and they kind of hang from trees and they're marsupials, but they're not in Australia. So whenever I see a possum print, and I can't do it with my hands, but it looks like a starfish on the ground. They've got this really weird gait too. So the possums kind of feels like a ghost. Like whenever you see one, you're driving around at night and you're like, holy crap, there's a possum. Like they're all around us all the time. And we see them once in a while with our eyes. If you start seeing their prints, you start to recognize I am always in the wilderness. This possum is surviving. Raccoons, trash pandas, like they're surviving.
I think they all get a really bad rap from us just because the possum people think they look kind of ugly, but they're pretty cool and great for the environment and taking out other rodents and things like that as well. So
not rodents, spiders.
Oh, spiders. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you love getting bit by spiders, then by all means, have animal control come.
Spiders aren't all bad themselves either, you know, just depending on which one.
They're satanic. Yeah, look out.
That's why I like the 5 part of the first number 1 on the No Order podcast here. So just as a rundown for what we had number 1, which was a mixture of shelter, water, fire, and food. And then number 2, now we are on tracking the animal. You want to tell us a little bit more about animal tracking here, Jonas?
Sure. So, and I would say just tracking in general, because you can track plants. Like, let's say I don't know what to eat, but I see the birds are eating that berry over there. Well, maybe that berry is edible for me too. Like elderberry is abundant around here, and yeah, the birds eat it, and I'll go harvest it too, and it's really good for immune system support in the wintertime. So yeah, if you know where an elderberry tree is, you can go out and collect those right now. Actually, they're in harvest.
Awesome.
But tracking, like, if I remember when I was younger and I would want to get away from everything, I was like, okay, I'm going to plan a backpacking trip, put everything in. I'm going to go out for a week, because it took 3 days before my mind like shed society, before I started getting that impulse to check my phone for an alert, before I started quieting down and being in wilderness. And I thought that's what it took. I thought in order to get my nature needs supplied to me, that I had to go do that. And then I discovered animal tracking. And now I can sink into nature anywhere I am by observing. Maybe it's just some dust where an insect has walked across and left a track. But now I'm tracking that insect. What was that insect doing? When was it here? Why was it here? Why is this substrate here? And that feeds me that nature need. Like, I think people who don't get enough nature time, it ends up doing it. Maybe it causes my ADD. I don't know, because I do spend a lot of time on the computer. But getting our nature time is really important.
Becoming one with kind of your surroundings and what's out there sounds like a big important thing for you.
Well, and if you're in a human body, which we are, and you need to survive in the wilderness, you better understand that you exist codependently with the environment around you, right? If I go shoot a deer, that deer is feeding me, and I am living with that deer now inside of me because I ate it. Its purpose in life. Rabbits are fantastic. They hold still so that the owl can come kill them, or so that you can shoot them. Like, they know that they're important to feed everything around them. They eat the grasses, and then they feed all the coyote and all the hunters. So that's why they make so many babies, because they need to feed everyone else, because everyone else supports them so they can live on. So it's a weird sort of like I'm not, my ego says I am me and I exist independently, but that's not true. The reality is that I exist interdependently with all of the people supplying me food, the farmer who brings, and the grocer, and the guy who brings the oil to the station so that I can gas up my car. Like, I can't live without all of that support structure, and that support structure is still going to be there in a wilderness situation. It just looks different.
And being one with everything and one with nature. How do you feel about that, Bear? You agree with that sentiment?
When you leave the city environment and you go into nature, like you said, for a couple of days, you feel more relaxed. You feel better. Your body tends to, if you were feeling upset, stomach aches or whatever, you feel a lot better because you're calm now. All the wavelengths and everything are away from you. And you're just, you're enjoying what's out there.
You're probably getting some more vitamin D from the sun because you've been trapped inside your house for the whole entire week behind a computer. And all those things for sure. You're absolutely right. I think so. And that's a great.
You start to feel human.
Yeah, you're feeling human again,
especially
yourself
when you
again.
go on like hikes and you look out in the view and you sit there and you just watch, the Bay Area. Whatever, everybody from a distance.
Yeah, you get to kind of step back outside of yourself in a way that it's like all your troubles start to like fade away off of you if you're going out and being able to just enjoy the sound of nature around you.
And your problems don't become problems because now you have a real problem. Hey, I got to be on my toes because this is mountain lion area and I can't focus on the A's and Giants game. I got to focus
your boss pissed off at
you.
you.
Make sure look behind you every once in a while. If you still have headphones in, you might get taken down.
You're looking like a nice tasty
little snack there.
No, it's probably not going to take any of us out. I would say that there's lots of mountain lions sleeping up in trees, watching us as we hike around underneath them, and we don't even pay attention. They're just asleep. It's really in those early morning hours. If you're going out, be careful. If you're bringing your dog, bringing your kid, they look like prey. You don't really look like prey to a mountain lion. You're big. It'd have to be a very, very hungry mountain lion to go at you or me, Bear. They're not really going to come at us. And during the day when we're out there, they're probably sleeping. I'd say a bigger danger in the Bay Area is boar.
The wild
in a
boar,
lot of the areas, in the East Bay, because they're introduced, right? They're I don't like the term invasive. They're successful introduced species who can be a little destructive. And back in the day, it was kind of open game, right? Anybody could go shoot one, bow, arrow, rifle, whatever. But now a lot of the areas are protected, and so the boar will hang on in there. And if you get stuck on a boar track and that boar comes at you, like you better get your knife out quick.
Yeah. Don't got much time to react.
There's a lot over there by the Masonic home behind that area.
Oh, over
in
on
Union
Mission?
City, Fremont area.
Yeah.
They're in the back.
All up in the hills.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
get eaten, huh?
You're not allowed to shoot them, so bring a little spear with you and stab it.
Get your spear ready, Bear.
A pocket knife.
For sure.
A bigger pocket knife.
Yeah, good luck.
Through.
Yeah, good luck. They're probably pretty thick-skinned overall. So that's animal tracking, and then of course just tracking in general with plants and all the different abundance and amendments.
In elementary school to the kids as part of their core training. It's like, hey, here's how to observe nature. That's what it is. I am observing things, I'm learning things, I'm paying attention. I know what that animal's called. I know what its life looks like. And it connects you to nature really quickly, but it's also like a practice that it's a wilderness survival skill, right? We can use it to hunt, we can use it to lay traps, and all of that. So laying traps, that'll segue us into cordage, because most traps do require cordage.
So number 3 is cordage here for your top 5. wilderness survival techniques or top 5 doomsday prepper techniques for if you're ever trapped out or caught in the wilderness. I got some cordage right here, just something small, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's here. I got it, but I got it from Supreme, so I guess it's more expensive than other cordage.
Yeah, no, that stuff is really good. I like to carry a lot with me all the time too. Making cordage would be the skill, and it's about twisting fibers. So you got to know which plant to harvest, how to harvest it. Some of them you have to process them a little bit before you can get the fibers from them, and then you got to twist them together to make the cable. So this is something that I haven't learned, but all of the other skills below on the skill list: archery, friction fire, trapping, tanning, animal process. Actually, animal processing, you can use tendons to get cord. You can use tendons for cordage as well. But you're probably going to need to make the cordage to make the bowstring so you can shoot that animal first, so that you can use its tendons for cordage. But
I'm going to McDonald's.
Really key.
I'm just kidding.
What's that?
I said I'm going to McDonald's. I'm dying first. I don't know what's happening.
No, so I mean, if you can make certain types of traps without cordage, with just sticks, like a deadfall trap, a rock, a couple of sticks, and some bait, and you can crush yourself some skulls and get some food. And that's probably what you've seen a lot in the TV shows, like Alone or whatever. I haven't watched them, but some of the people on there I have studied with. Anyway, so cordage is super important. Trying to think of what hemp. Weed stalks probably make really good cordage,
and you can use that to like help with your shelter as well. Is that correct?
Cordage will help you build a shelter for sure. Not necessary, but it definitely would help. If you wanted to build something that was going to last a little longer. Cordage just comes super handy for all sorts of things. I mean, if you make enough cordage, you can make nets. Once you get really good at cordage, you start making yarn, and then you're making clothing. And then if you're Vikings, they were like, when you think of the Vikings living off of fish and their boats, those sails that the Vikings used were hand woven from wool by the women of the time. So you imagine an entire town getting together to weave a giant sail so that the men could go fish. Like, that's where humans came from. Like, we created a symbiotic relationship with sheep to get the wool, because that's a really good fiber, strong, durable, keeps you warm, keeps you cool, all those cool
replenishes
things. And you can also make super thin yarn out of it to build a sail. Yeah. Oh, and you can eat the sheep when you're done growing, after it's 4 or 5 years old. It's not giving.
Are you a fan of mutton? Do you like sheep, or do you eat it, Jonas?
Yeah, I like everything about sheep.
Okay.
It's funny, like you say mutton. Mutton's really, really hard to get. If you get mutton, it's probably because a shepherd. Wow. And then when you go to the store and buy lamb, you're probably not getting lamb. It's just that the word hogget isn't as palatable to people. So you're probably getting hogget most of the time you're buying lamb. You are getting lamb.
Yeah, do you want to kind of give us a little explanation on that? Is it like a mixture of a hog and something else, or what is hogget itself?
It's in between. So when a baby sheep is born, it's a lamb, and then until it's a certain age, if you slaughter it and sell it, then it's still considered lamb. So it's very tender and soft meat. And then you get a little older, and then you get to a year and 2 years old. That's all hogget. It's all hogget, and that's when most people cull their herd.
It's a different phase of the year. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're a year old. It's a year old, so it's better meat.
Yeah.
It's a bigger animal, so you get more production out of it.
Right.
It just has a weird name, so we still call it lamb when it's in the store.
I see.
But you're probably eating
hogget chop sing along doesn't sound as good as lamb chop sing along.
Yeah. Barbay's been tricking us with the lamb chops.
Right. So those are hogget chops. You got any hogget chops?
Those are hogget chops. Oh, lamb backstrap, so good. And the flavor usually comes from what it was eating and how the breed. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, I don't like lamb." It's like, well, do you know what breed of sheep you're eating? Probably not. I really like my lamb gyro, and that's all mixed up and it's all spiced up. But if you're going to eat lamb, hopefully you're getting it at a nice restaurant where they know the shepherd, and they're getting a yummy caracal fat tail sheep, or they're going and getting, a Dorset that they know is raised in a good environment. So there's really good lamb, and there's lower quality, and then there's sheep cheese, which is really good. Yeah. Anyway, that's not at all on our topic, though.
It's all good. We do want to thank you for joining us here on the No Order podcast once again. And we want to give a breakdown of your top 5 wilderness survival techniques here with Bear and Doe. We got Jonas joining us for the wilderness survival techniques. With number 1, he had shelter, water, fire, food. And then it was tracking. Number 3 was cordage. I think we're ready to roll on to number 4 here. What do you got for us, Jonas, with your number 4?
Friction fire. So you said lighter, right? Yeah. When that's out of fuel,
or it drops in the water and I can't use it. What do I got to do? Yeah, rub 2 sticks in the nature, right?
Flint and steel. Well, maybe you do flint and steel.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe you have a battery. Maybe you have a battery and some steel wool, and you know how to make a flame out of that.
Mm-hmm.
All that's great. Friction fire is, what you've seen in the movies, right? I'm rubbing sticks together, and my favorite way is bow drill, which does require cordage.
Use your cordage, yeah.
Yeah. But your cordage that you have there will work to make a bow, and then you get a spindle. But it's all about pressure, and you know how to have to have a little bit of makesmanship. What do you call it when you're craftsmanship?
Okay.
To make the spindle and make the fireboard. I can run and grab mine if you want to look at some. But
you're gonna build a fire for us right here on the No Order podcast. We're all with it. As long as you're not in studio, we love it. No, I'm just kidding.
I am not set up to do it right now.
In the future, we were gonna have you back on the podcast and have you do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a friction fire special. I like that.
Awesome.
But connecting this to hiking, so if you do get out in the East Bay in Fremont or Sunol Regional Wilderness, there's a really good plant called mule fat, which look it up, find it, harvest it. It is fantastic for friction fire. There's a lot of other good ones, willow. Anything that lights on fire is good, but you're looking for certain densities in the wood so that when you rub them together, they create friction. And if you use pine, there's too much sap in it, right? So you kind of want a hardwood, but a soft hardwood, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So something dense that's going to create that friction, and then you feel the friction if you're doing hand. But friction fires, number 4.
Okay. And then that sounds like something that doesn't hold too much water in there, so you're able to get it ignited and start it up. And you want to tell us more about why that's in your top 5 or your number 4 in general here, Jonas?
Yeah. Well, so Shuafai Fu puts fire up in there, yes. and we know that fire aided in humans becoming no longer Neanderthals or whatever, because we could cook our food. We didn't have to chew it, and we got more nutrition out of it when we ate it. So being able to make fire is not only going to warm our bodies and allow us to cook food and dry food and all of those things, but I don't know if you ever sat around a campfire. There's you just look at the fire and you're just like, oh, it's like as good as television, right? Just staring at the flames, like consuming a piece of wood, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And you can cook over it too and drink a beer and chat with your friends.
Jonas, I wonder why the smoke always wafts right into my face and leaves everyone else alone when I'm sitting next to the fire.
That's physics.
It just looks for the dumbass of the group and goes there, or what?
I think it actually has more to do with a vacuum. So it wants,
I know I can't be the only one. I had to throw that out there, So fire for your number 4.
Friction fire specifically.
Okay.
You can learn all about the different fires and flint and steel, and you can be ready for a survival situation. But how wonderful would it be if you didn't have to worry about that you knew anywhere in the world in about an hour, you could go collect some supplies and make yourself a fire. That's how our ancestors lived. They knew how to get fire from wood. Nowadays, we're like, where do I get fire? Oh, I have to go to the stove. Oh, I use a microwave. Well, let me find a lighter so I can light my cigarette or my joint or whatever. We are so into fire, and yet we've lost in our bodies, we've lost our ability to make fire naturally. And that's something all of our ancestors anywhere in the world, it's a shared heritage, it's a shared birthright that we have access to fire. When I say access to fire, who are you dependent on? And it was funny when you says, oh, this goes really well with hiking spots. I thought the top 5 wilderness survival skills goes better with the penny pinching, because can you imagine if you can make your own fires? You don't have to buy charcoal anymore. You don't have to buy all this other stuff, right? Because you're self-sufficient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same with like food. Like I don't need to go to the store to buy meat because I'm gonna go
harvest it naturally. Yeah.
I'm gonna go get some fish out of the ocean. Like I don't need to buy my fish because I can go get it myself. So a lot of these wilderness survivor skills, I think, are probably closer to penny pinching.
For sure. I mean, if you can do it yourself, I got a few fruit trees as well that, as long as I tend to them and water them, and just because here in the Bay Area, we're not getting very much water these days, with the rain or anything like that. But yeah,
trees do you have?
I actually have a few, persimmon mainly. That's going to be pretty good within the next month or so.
Fuyu or
Fuyu persimmons. Yeah.
The hard ones,
the hard ones.
Apple.
Yeah.
Call me. I'm gonna come help you.
All right, sounds good. I hear they're worth a lot, so I might have to charge. No, but for you, Jonas, you got some. Come by and you can.
You got the lemon tree.
So what you want after you harvest your persimmons is you get a soft ripened goat cheese or sheep cheese, pretty much any soft ripened cheese.
Amazing.
It is the best thing ever. It's so good.
For sure.
Gotta try that out now.
Yeah.
I love persimmon season in the Bay Area.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like it more than an apple. We have another form of an apple in the backyard. The name really escapes me right now, but yeah, I think I'm getting more used to the persimmon flavor. And then when it softens up as well, I hear that it's more like a jelly or something, so you can spread it like a jam.
That's the fuyu. That's different.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's the one that's shaped like a big old heart, like a deer heart.
I see. You're not a fan of that one?
That's for making bread. It's got a cerbic, not a cerbic. It's got it's dries out the mouth.
I see.
You need to cook those. Or you can eat them after they go to goop, which I don't like, but some people do.
I see.
The hayashis that you have, the apple ones, just eat them like apples with honey, cottage cheese, but soft ripened goat cheese.
Awesome. Yeah, come by. You can grab some from me here because I don't eat as many as I probably should. We got lemons and a few other things growing around here, and I want to do more out here. I think I'm in zone 9 or 10. I think pretty much all of Oakland is like that, but super excited for those. How about yourself? Do you?
I had a loquat tree. I'm in an apartment, but a loquat tree doesn't take a lot of water. Grows really well, grows really fast, and gives a ton of good fruit. It's nice, sour, yummy.
Okay, there's definitely one I'm gonna consider then doing. I wanted to do something super tropical or something like that, but I digress.
But I like it. We're getting to this idea we're tracking, right?
Yes.
We're tracking fruits. Okay, so are you ready for number 5?
Yeah, with the No Order Podcast here with Bear and Do, and we got Jonas here with us to talk about his top 5 wilderness survival techniques. We're ready for number 5 here for you.
All right. So number 5 is archery. I think a lot of people have tried archery. It was really popular with that show or that book that came out a little while ago with, I don't know, the kids are getting hunted or whatever. I think there was some archers in it.
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. That's the one. Was there some archery in that one?
Yes.
Hawkeye is my one of my favorite
Hawkeye is such a good TV show. But archery's kind of had its little comeback moment, and I'm hoping it sticks around. I prefer to hunt with a rifle, but I love my bow, and I love taking it to the range, and I love shooting arrows. And there's something that happens when you shoot a bow in your body, because this human body, all of our human bodies evolved with this tool. We would not be human if it wasn't for the bow. We would have never stopped being monkeys. We would have never evolved past that. So this tool allowed us to hunt. This tool allowed us to reach beyond the length of our arm and kill an animal. There's other tools, the atlatl, and you could throw a knife, and there's spears and stuff, but the bow especially really, when I shoot it, it connects me to my ancestors, and it connects me to what it means to be human. And so I really like it as a wilderness survival skill. I think a lot of people are drawn to it. It's kind of their first foray into wilderness survival skills. So I'm sorry that I had to put it number 5, because it's not number 1. It's not going to keep you from dying day one. But it definitely deserves to be in the top 5. I get into the others: tanning, animal processing, and trapping. Like, there's lots of other things we can do to survive.
Honorable mentions for sure.
But if you have a skill in archery and you have to survive in the wilderness, you got a huge leg up, right? You go over and you're going to get a switch, and you're going to make some cordage, or you brought some cordage with you, and you're going to make yourself a little quickie bow, and you're going to find something sharp and put it on the end of a stick, and all of a sudden you're a meat eater again.
You got Slow Jackson and you got Bo Jackson over here. So. So that's a pretty solid top 5. What do you think about the top 5?
Archery, definitely. My nephew actually does archery, and it was always cool to see him in the backyard hitting like a pillow thing that has like circles on it, so that
you could see
it
your
goes
numbers
through and everything. So.
Is that different than a crossbow, right? It's the actual archery of like stringing up your own bow and doing it that way. Is that what he does?
Just a bow. It wasn't a crossbow or anything.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
The crossbow doesn't really qualify as archery.
It shoots,
because
right?
Yeah, it counts as a bolt. It's more of a weapon.
The action of it. Yeah.
The reason for the crossbow was because you had to train someone to shoot a bow, an archery bow, for a long time. And if you were just hiring some kids to defend the castle, you just wanted them to be able to fire as many rounds out of the top of that castle as possible. And teaching them how to shoot a bow is just too much work. If I can load the bolts into a crossbow and just hand it to you and you shoot it, I can just keep handing you, and then I'll reload it. So it was really a way to get more arrows out of the castle faster with less trained warriors.
And so it's less for tracking and hunting in the survival aspect.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they're fun to shoot, and you can go shoot them. But if you are hunting deer, you don't get to hunt with a crossbow during the bow season. You have to wait till rifle season to hunt with a crossbow.
I see. Awesome. What did you want to tell us a little bit more about the archery sense of things, Jonas? You had anything further you wanted to add there?
I just love archery.
Okay.
I'm not the greatest bow hunter, but it's definitely, when you think about like, oh, what would be the coolest way to go?
Yeah, it seems like I was about to say. It seems like something pretty cool to try out and go.
Yeah,
it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I don't think I've ever necessarily tried it myself, so maybe it'll be something I have to go and do. I saw that there is some classes and stuff for doing it, so maybe I'll.
Yeah, if you want to do archery in the Bay Area, find a spot. I know there's one over in Newark, archery only. There's a club over in Cupertino. There's some really good walking courses. There's one where we were talking about over in Redwoods.
That's dope.
And then there's one up above Woodside, above in Huddart Park, where it's just a free range and you can go out there and kind of tour. They've got trails set up.
It's like disc golf, but for archery.
Yes.
Or golfing or something.
Disc golf is when I go out to play disc golf, I was like, why am I doing this instead of doing archery? Archery is a little more fun.
That's cool.
Than the disc golf. But there's a very similar activity.
To have more control over it for some odd reason, right?
You don't have to worry about killing something, actually.
That's true. I don't know. With the way Bear throws, you never know.
Imagine.
Well, I think Bear might have some questions for you other than your wilderness survival techniques. And I think the things that we kind of want to ask is if you're into cereal and if you like burgers, you got to have a top burger spot in the Bay Area or just in general anywhere? Burger joint or burger spot, top 5 burger.
So starting with the cereal, yes, I do like cereal.
Are you a
I'll walk
fan
in-
of Captain Crunch peanut butter?
Not
Yeah,
no,
that
because of all
face
the
you gave
mouthfeel.
just gave it all away. I love it.
All
I
right, we're
love the
proud of you.
Appreciate the
flavor.
support.
The mouthfeel. They love the flavor, but it's the
Yeah.
mouthfeel
Blood.
that
Yeah.
It always once it cuts a cheek and then it's blood in there. It's like this is not as good as it was.
solid, bro. Well, what about burgers? You got a burger spot that
Wait,
you're
I
into?
didn't get to tell you what my favorite cereal is, though.
Oh, what
Yeah,
is your
let's hear
yeah. What is it? No, I just figured it was
That
peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Raisin nut brand, the one with the raisins all encapsulated in
Oh
almonds.
yeah. I know what he's talking about.
It's like
Okay.
the most
It's
expensive
clusters?
cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raisin Nut brand. It is ridiculously good. Also, Reese's Pieces, whatever
Oh,
that
Reese's
cereal.
the little circles.
That's
those
just
are
with chocolate though.
Chocolate frosted sugar bombs.
Yeah.
Straight up.
No, but
Okay.
it actually has flavor and is good.
Watch out, bro. Okay. So Raisin Nut brand for the cereal, and then burger. You got a
Burgers?
burger?
Okay, so burgers are tough because I can make a damn good burger at home, right? So if I'm going out for a burger, am I just looking for value? I'm looking to just feed my face and save some time. So In-N-Out Burger and Giants hamburgers are probably my go-tos.
Okay.
But if you get a chance, you're down in Capitola. You know Capitola,
Yeah.
the village, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know there's a little arcade there in the middle of town,
Mhm.
in the middle of the village. There's a little arcade. On the back side of the arcade, there's this guy who makes tacos that aren't real tacos. They're like pokey tacos, and he uses like corn shells. But he makes a burger that is as good, if not better, than what I can make at home, which is ridiculously good. They're
nice.
expensive, but they're this thick. They're cooked medium through or a little bit on the rare side of medium. So I like rare.
Yeah.
But you got to have good meat, right? So, but he's cooking them super slow in this little electric dish that I've never seen. And man, that thing is so juicy and so good. I have not had a better burger in the Bay Area in my entire life.
Oh, nice. Gotta check that out.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna look that up and then we'll drop it in the chat as well. Bro, we really thank you for coming on to the show. We
appreciate your time.
We enjoyed this a whole lot, and you're super insightful as well. I think before we let you go here, I think we just had a couple more questions. When you're doing this wilderness thing, you've seen Waterworld. He's able to like get his urine to drink and be able to survive off that. Is that something that's like a possibility thing to do or what?
So absolutely, urine is sterile. So if you get a cut or a wound, peeing on it is a good way to make sure you're not going to get it infected. If you need some cleaner at home and you want to do some penny pinching, you could save your own urine and it turns to ammonia. Just don't mix it with bleach or you'll kill yourself. That's why you don't want to use bleach cleaning the bathroom if you're a male, because we have a lot of urine that splashes and that will turn to ammonia. And if you clean with bleach, you're going to be getting noxious gases that can kill you. So yeah.
That's good to know. I won't be doing that, but that is good to know.
But, and then when you think of ammonia, it's not really something you want to drink, but if you do go to McDonald's and get a burger, all of your meat has been bathed in ammonia to make sure that it's not going to kill you, and then rinsed. So yeah, you could take your urine, let it sit, get the ammonia out, and then filter it and re-drink it. Sure.
Gotcha. Well, that's good to know. I had a few people inquire about that, so we wanted to see if you.
I wouldn't drink it straight.
Sure. No. Boil it or whatever you got to do.
I was ready to take shots.
Wow. Def not. Well, we want to give you a chance to like open up the floor for you and let us know what you got going on, or any like hikes that you got going on or recommend, or just things that you got going on before we let you go, Jonas.
Yeah, no, I haven't been up too much lately. Just this time of year. I know everybody's kind of like moving towards Halloween, getting ready for this kind of darker time. So take a look at what the world is offering around you so you can harvest. And, when we're cleaning things up, like a lot of times you're cleaning stuff up and, maybe there's a use to that thing before you toss it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head.
Sure.
Nothing's
No.
coming to mind. But
Yeah, that's great though. That's a great recycle where you can, reuse where you can, and help out. If you see some trash out there, I'd say pick it up off the ground, throw it away.
Yeah, and if you hit a deer, call me.
We'll do that. We'll do that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But if I do, you're definitely the first I'm calling to share some of that jerky that I'm making.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. No,
well, we
with the
thank you for your
hide.
time.
Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you.
Awesome. Have a good one, Jonas.
All right.
Peace.
Keep it out of order, guys. Appreciate it.